I didn't ask to be your dirty little secret. When you're so in love with someone that you start replacing words like unhealthy with compromise, you will begin to forget your own name. Perfect. Awesome. Honest confessions on falling madly and hopelessly into your first love, or how to complete the task of telling the difference between infatuation and affection, because trust me, that shit is hard, or Rookie's Guide to Dealing with Soul-Crushing Heartache, or How to Love Yourself. 1, I'm really bad at gardening. Like really bad at gardening, like I bought a succulent once because of how low maintenance they're supposed to be, and I killed it, bad at gardening. But when you cultivate a crush like a plant, it'll grow. It'll turn into desire, then devotion, and you'll think your green thumb is finally getting a little bit greener. Then you'll do something stupid like falling in love with that plant and it'll die. All that you'll be left with is some dirt in an old pot, and you'll be left wondering if that plant ever even existed at all. 2, having a big sword collection doesn't really mean much if you don't know how to handle a weapon. 3, I have never found you sexier than when you play me your electric guitar, struggle to fill awkward silences, or tell me that I am wrong. 4, just something to keep in mind, just like a little tidbit of human decency to keep with you. If someone asks you out, don't reject them and ask for sex instead. Don't reject them because you think it's morally wrong to date a teenager when you're in your 20s, then offer up just the thing that makes it morally wrong. They deserve more than being the thing you're too ashamed to talk about, but that doesn't stop you from taking exactly what you want when no one else is around to know about it. 5, please bear my advice in mind because she's going to say yes. She'll agree to a relationship she can't maintain because she's young, hopeful, and in love with you. She'll smile and pretend that her heart isn't shattering when you tell her not to kiss you goodnight. You'll both be happy for a little while with you getting some much-needed physical affection and her getting to spend every night of the week with the man she loves, but just when you start wondering if you should stop fooling around with children, she'll be wondering if you still see her as a child. After all, you're definitely not treating her like one. She won't be expecting you to leave, and when you do, she'll be broken. 6, listening to how hot you think my coworkers are isn't exactly a turn on. 7, the one time you told me to lie to your parents about my age if they happened to come home, see me, and ask, I should have left you. The day after, when you drove me to work in your mom's car because you didn't want people to recognize that I really should have left you. I didn't ask to be your dirty little secret. When you're so in love with someone that you start replacing words like unhealthy with compromise, you will begin to forget your own name. 8, the first excuse you gave me about why we couldn't be together was that I looked bad on your resume. The second was that you didn't know me well enough to be really into me. I should have just given up then, because fast forward 4 months later, you call me a best friend. You tell me things you don't tell anyone else. You know me well enough to spend the night. You're working a full-time job, and yet we're still not together. I thought that my age was still making you uneasy, or that I had done something to make you uneasy. It never occurred to me that you'd always be uneasy, or that you'd be lying to get me to sleep with you. I think that's because I still thought you were a good person then. 9, I don't know why my heart still tells me that you're a good person. 10, I should have known better than to love the guy who called me a pretty girl while I called him my favorite man. Should have known better than to think that I'd be different. Should have known better than to believe you when you said you cared. Should have known better than to think we'd still be friends. I mean, why would you need a little girl when you finally found someone your own age? 11, it's a daily struggle not to start crying in public whenever I see a happy couple holding hands. I'm constantly reminding myself that you never hold my hand in public anyways, and that the only kisses I'd ever get from you would be in the dark because you held onto your ego like you should have held me. 12, how can I not be reminded of you when everything reminds me of you? I quit my job for you. I couldn't stand seeing all the faces I'd heard you talk about, the friends, the crushes, the old lovers, and all the exes you spoke fondly of. Like when 2 of your old girlfriends hadn't heard from you in a while and were wondering about what you've been doing, and I just wanted to show me, but don't worry, I've kept myself your dirty little secret. 13, the next time someone begins to cry in front of you, don't sigh and tell them it'll only get worse. They don't need brutal honesty right now. All they need is for you to hold them close and to tell them it'll be okay. 14, it was only after you left that I realized my age isn't something to hate about myself. It wasn't the reason you weren't with me, it was your convenient excuse. My age wasn't pointing out how much I sigh or how much I'd benefit from doing a few sit-ups, you were. Being 16 wasn't filling me with false hope only to pull it away on a nightly basis, that was you. I really don't think that a number is capable of grabbing me by the wrists and calling me a whore. You were the person encouraging bad decisions. You were the one telling me that my feelings weren't valid. You were the only one benefiting from this friendship, and guess what? I deserved more. I had to cover up so much to be with you that I no longer knew who I was. Thank you.